Hello chess friends and welcome to the channel. Today at the Lindores Abbey the players are playing the first mini-match of the semifinals. I'm terribly late and I'm sorry, but don't worry because I will still show you all the best games, also some games played in the last few days. Anyways, today we will begin with a strange game played by Dubov, the jack of all trades, against Ding Liren in their first game. Let's get started. Daniel Dubov with the white pieces opens with e4. Ding answers with e5, and there comes knight to c3, the Vienna game. Knight to c6 instead of knight to f6, but after bishop to c4 and knight to f6, the game transposes to the main line. Here comes d3 to opens the way for the bishop, and now knight to a4, the main continuation with Ding that goes for the bishop pair. Bishop back to b3, bishop to b4, pinning the knight, knight to f3, attacking the pawn, and here comes knight captures on b3. The pawn recapture, short castle for black, short castle for white. Now really this pawn is under attack. So if you open the database, there is only one game between grandmasters with this position. A long fight ended with a draw in 48 moves, something like that, because the position really is equal. What is the move to play? Well, now black really must protect this pawn, so rook to e8 is also played, but d6 seems to me the most natural way to protect this pawn, also opening the way for the light square bishop. Instead, Ding Liren continues with e5, and this is an inaccuracy, almost a mistake. So white continues with bishop to g5, attacking and pinning the knight. Bishop captures on c3 is a novelty, the b pawn recapture, and now d captures on e4. This d4 push was played for this capture, but now really if white recapture with the pawn there is an advantage for black, but Dubov is not forced to do this recapture. So let's briefly watch what happens if now white recaptures with the pawn, something that Dubov didn't play. Now black will change the queens, and then the simple knight capture on e4 wins an important pawn and probably also the game. But going back to our game, after d captures on e4, Dubov doesn't recapture with the pawn, but captures on e5 with the knight. Now this move gives white a small advantage, but black is almost walking on the edge, so from now on must play with great care. Here comes h6, that is good, bishop back to h4, and now bishop to f5, developing the bishop, protecting the pawn, but still with this bishop that is controlling the knight jump, knight to g4, that will attack a second time this pin and knight. What to do now as white? If you notice, there is this rook on the a5, on this semi-open file that is already active, so great idea would be to make active also the second rook on the f5, so rook in f goes to e1, with some advantage for white because of these active rooks. Dubov instead plays another active idea, that is rook to a5, watching this unprotected bishop. Now the bishop unfortunately can't move back to h7 because this bishop, let's remember, is watching g4, because if bishop back there is a great advantage for white with the knight jump attacking this knight. And so what to do now? There are some good ideas in this position. b6 attacking the rook will force Dubov to bring back the rook to a1, but probably black doesn't want to weaken this c6 square because there is also this knight jump. But after b6, rook back to a1, then there is this pawn capture that in this position is almost a must. Even if as black you don't want to weaken these c6 squares, sorry, then at least this pawn capture is something to play. Let's briefly watch this variation. After e captures on d3, not played by Ding, there is the knight that recapture, the bishop is under attack, bishop back to h7 or to g6, probably bishop to g6 is a bit more active, even if then black can't push g5 anymore, but this is a concession that you must accept. Now rook to e1, queen to d6, I'm pinning the knight, and the game is more or less equal. Going back to our game, after rook to a5, watching the bishop, instead Ding continues with g5 that unpins the knight, but this is another inaccuracy, and let's watch what happens. Bishop back to g3, now bishop back to h7, but of course this pawn push just weaken the position in front of the king. So that's why Dubov doesn't lose time, continues with f4. Now in this position, black can't capture en passant because opening the f5 with the queen that will recapture is a total disaster. Let's watch what happens after e capture on f3, not played by Ding. Now the queen will recapture, attacking b7 unprotected, and also a double attack, not a double attack, and also two pieces attacking this knight. Now if the knight moves away, knight back to d7, best idea. There are so many paths to victory. Let's briefly watch a couple. So rook to d5, attacking and pinning this knight again is one of the winning moves. But after knight to d7, there is also knight captures on f7 that comes with tempo. Queen to e7, there is no problem because this knight moves away with check. Knight capture on e6 with check. King to g7, another check. Bishop captures, rook captures, and of course white is 2 pawn up, and also with the initiative. These 2 pawn ups will be something to remember in this game, because Ding Liren with that d5 push wanted to win a pawn and will end without 2 pawns. Let's go back to our game. After f4, now of course Ding doesn't capture en passant, continues with knight to d5 that is almost blocking the rook lift, because there is also this idea, this terrible rook lift to the king side. So at least this is a good idea. Knight to d5 is blocking the path for this rook to the king side attack. So after knight to d5, in this position, here comes queen to h5. Not the best idea, but a move that keeps the advantage. Let's go back one move, because in this position, knight to g4 is the move to play, attacking the second weakness. Knight capture, the simple queen to d2. Queen to d4 seems strong because it's defending the knight and comes with check. But bishop back to f2, the queen must protect the knight, also attacking the rook, but this knight captured with check. King to g7, rook to a4, attacking the queen. The knight is lost. At least knight jumps to e2 with check, so the queen can move back to b5, f capture, and of course this is game over. So knight to g4, best idea. Instead Dubov continues with queen to h5, of course a strong position for white. Now c6, reinforcing the center. Now really there is no hope for Dubov to lift the rook to the king side, so that's why he brings back the rook to a1, and here comes f6. But this move doesn't solve any problem, because the knight already wanted to jump to g4. Queen to e8, the idea is to exchange the queens, but queen capture on h6 wins 1 pawn. Queen to g6, same idea, but now the f pawn captures on g5, protecting the queen, wins a second pawn, and in this position Ding resigns, because black in any case will never be able to regain at least 1 pawn. Now let's briefly watch a couple of continuations. So what to do now as black to try at least to regain 1 pawn? If queen capture on h6, there is the knight that capture with check. King to g7, knight back to g4. Now two only possible chances. If f captures on g5, there is bishop to e5 with check, king to g6, d capture, knight back, and white is 2 pawns up. Going back to our knight to g4, if here comes f4, knight to f6. Now black can capture with the knight on c3, because there is the simple bishop to e5 with the terrible discovered attack that wins the game on the spot. So after knight to f6, only move is to capture the knight. Knight captures on f6, but this knight capture doesn't win the piece, because bishop to e5 with the pawn that is attacking the pinned knight. Now e captures on d3, bishop captures, come with check, king to g6, white recapture the pawn, and we are still 2 pawns up. So Really a strange game. We think that played a bit like a patzer, but this is also what happens in fast games. Ding wanted to win a central pawn, but of course the idea was completely wrong, and at the end he lost 2 pawns. So this is what also happened to us in our bad days, and this is for me of great comfort. Dubov won the first game, but the match is long. We will meet later with new games from the semifinals. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.